Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about self-sabotage, and this concept is very much a human being thing. We all do it, and the root of it is fear. So if you've gone through pain, suffering, or trauma in the past, there was often a situation where it blindsided you, it took control, you had no control, you felt powerless. So self-sabotage is, how do I not let something control me again? I don't want anything to blindside me or surprise me, so I'm going to take control to prevent pain from happening. But the more we try to control, the more we end up creating pain. So the question is, how do you get in your own way? I think we could all logically say that we don't want to get in our own way. We want to pursue our goals, our dreams, our desires, but these are subconscious movements that we do for self-protection. But the illusion is that it self-protects. It is not actually protecting you. So we're going to go through 6 ways that we self-sabotage, and I just want these things to be a self-awareness piece so that we're all just being cognizant of how we get in our own way. The first way we self-sabotage is holding a negative core belief. A negative core belief is usually an agreement with a lie that was rooted in childhood. So an example could be agreeing that you weren't good enough, or that you were too much, that you were unworthy, that you were unlovable. So when we partner with a core belief, it is something that's going to affect the way we behave and show up in the world. So let's take the core belief of I'm a failure. If you partner with that core belief, I'm a failure, well, how is that going to affect the way that you engage with others, with how you engage with yourself, how you pursue your goals? It will probably create a self-fulfilling prophecy. And what a self-fulfilling prophecy is, I have a core belief that I'm a failure, and so I'm going to end up staying loyal to that belief, which then the outcome will be I'm a failure. This could be an example where you have a job interview, but you're not feeling confident. You fear that you would fail the interview. So instead, you don't show up, you talk yourself out of it, and then the outcome is you don't get the job. Showing up and not getting that job is a very vulnerable feeling, but the power of showing up vulnerably in the world is not the outcome per se, it's who we're becoming in the midst of it. So someone who is showing up scared at a job interview, that's the win. The win isn't if you got the job or not. Of course you want the job, but it's, am I going to try? Am I going to show up regardless of if I'm not accepted for this job? So identifying the beliefs that we are agreeing with is very important to eliminate self-sabotage behaviors. Number 2 is discouraging yourself before even trying. So in my first example, not showing up to the interview can be one of them. This could also be a result of perfectionism. Perfectionism says you have to be good at this right away. Perfectionism says don't you dare fail. Perfectionism gives no room to be human. So when we discourage ourselves before trying, this is often a result of a belief that I have to be perfect, and it's giving no room for the process of trial and error. Trial and error is where character builds. It is how we become good at something. The more we do it, the better we become at it. And maybe there was a situation in the past that was a pattern of you being criticized unless that person thought you were perfect, unless you met their standards. So again, we have to have a lot of empathy for the fear behind self-sabotage, because I don't think, again, any human would say they want to self-sabotage in their life, but there is a fear that is driving you here, and a belief that is telling you that you need to be perfect before you attempt to engage in something. Okay, so number 3 is projection. The art of projection is very sneaky. It can be subtle at times, but this is something that's happening within us that is projected onto someone else. So if I'm not feeling okay, I could project that onto a friend, family member, or partner, where you're not self-aware of what's going on within you. So you are projecting it onto them to feel safer to talk about it or to look at it. And so people that are experiencing your projection often feel attacked. They feel unsettled. They could feel like you're being passive aggressive. But yes, the more that we project onto other people, the more we're actually creating conflict in our relationships. All right, so number 4 is being controlling. So anxiety tells you to take control, but the way to heal anxiety is to release control. It's very counterintuitive. There is a term called reenactment. We often reenact what we know from the past. You know, kids mirror what they learn. And so if you, and you know, we're gonna talk about attachment styles in the next few videos, but when we find a style of relating that works for us in childhood, such as an anxious attacher that clings to feel safe, in adulthood, you might be trying to cling or to merge with other people to feel safe, but that's the very thing that's actually working against you. The confusing part is, why did this work in my childhood? Why is it not working in adulthood? The same thing that brought life then is not bringing life now. And that is very confusing to our system. So oftentimes the healing journey is actually doing the opposite of what we used to do, which makes us feel out of control. But when we surrender and release control, we actually end up experiencing more peace. At first, the anxiety might go up when we're trying to surrender, but as we get used to surrendering, peace actually does increase. So just notice the way you try to reenact what you know from the past, which is recreating conflict over and over and over again. All right, so number 5 is avoidance behaviors. Avoidance, again, I mean, so many of these is the root is fear. Avoiding the problem to hope that the problem goes away, but the more we avoid the problem, the more it grows. If you are emotionally unavailable, if you see conflict and you run away from it, if there's something that you do need to address in your life, and again, you sweep it under the rug, this will often just create more problems in the future. And the self-fulfilling prophecy here is, you know, when we procrastinate or avoid, we think that maybe it'll be easier later, but then it's actually multiplied later. So then your mind goes, this is why I avoid problems, because they're so big. But if we actually addressed the little things quicker, they wouldn't be as big later. All right, so number 6 is denying help. The grace behind all of these is that there's a reason, there's a legitimate reason why we've engaged in this. So denying help could have been a child that actually learned that relying on others was unsafe or not reliable, so they became self-sufficient. And so then you continued that pattern later in life. And the truth of it was, yes, there probably was people that you could not rely on. So what you did was very adaptable and it worked. But now, as an adult, you're trying to live life alone and it's not working. So if we can find those trusted, safe people that we can accept help from, that will help lift a lot of our burdens in life, because we all go through things in life and suffering and pain and trauma, and we do need the help of others. But the caveat is trusted, safe people. There are times where self-sufficiency can actually be the only option. But if you are living this life alone, this will often create a self-sabotage effect, because we were actually not meant to carry all of our loads alone. So I hope this was helpful. These are just 6 common ways that I've seen people self-sabotage, and you do need grace for yourself. And I think a good question is, what am I afraid of? Why am I in fear? Where did this fear come from? What am I trying to control in my life? What are ways that I can surrender slowly to help release my anxiety and to decrease the self-sabotage pattern? All right, y'all, see you in the next video.